afternoon. Good afternoon. It's a wonderful day. I am so thankful because we are here today on Point of View, and I am going to be here. Eula is not going to be with us today, and Cleester, if she's going to be with us, she will be in later. So we are so thankful, and Merethah is working, so we all know all about that, and everybody is obligated today. And so I am just thankful to God because He is who He is. And as you can see there on the screen, welcome to Point of View. Going to talk about crabs in a bucket, soar like an eagle, and we talked about indentured mentality last week. And today I'm going to talk, can you soar like an eagle when you're working with turkeys? And then I'm going to talk about the traits of a turkey. So there's so much that we will cover today. And I am just so happy to be able to cover those things today. Because there in life, there's so many things that happen in our lives. And there's so many things we need to do to enhance our lives and make sure that we are happy. We need to be happy. We need to enjoy this life that God has given to us. And we need traits and we need pointers, we need information on how to do these things sometimes. Okay? So there are people out here in this world who have done so much research. They have done so much research and they have shared these on the World Wide Web with us. And so they are there for us to look up, and then we research that search and research the research. And then we come up with the things that we feel are good for each of us and to share with each of us. So, dear God, as I sit before you to speak, I pray to you that my soul you will keep. And if I should die before I finish, I pray to you, dear God, in the name of Jesus, that any outstanding sin will be forgiven. Amen. It's such a privilege and a blessing to be here before you today. Thank you for being with me here on Point of View, and I have so much to go over, so I am just anxious to get started on this. So we talked about, I was going to talk about crabs in a bucket. Let me find this information about the crabs in a bucket. And we talked about the psychological slavery, like I said, present day slave mentality. We talked about that. Okay, now we're going to talk about the crabs in a bucket before we go into soaring like an eagle. So I have that information here. Crabs in a bucket. I have that information, so I'm going to go there. I have these windows open over here, and I have it all over here. I just have to get to crabs in a bucket mentality. There it is. Crabs in a bucket mentality. Crabs in a bucket mentality. And you might, some of this will probably sound familiar. And so, what we can do if we find ourselves victims or if we find ourselves being the perpetrators, we can start today by doing something positive and making sure that our lives are positive and we are a positive influence on everybody else. Okay? Crabs in a bucket mentality is a way of thinking that describes how people or crabs try to pull down others who are achieving something they can't. The phrase "if I can't have it, neither can you" best describes this mentality. If I can't have it, neither can you. Okay? So go into this. All right. And the other day I was speaking with someone about this crabs in a bucket, we call it syndrome mentality. But and the person said, and the thing about it is crabs don't know that they don't belong in a bucket. And I said, wow, that is something else. So crabs in a bucket, it's That mentality as a crab theory, crabs in a bucket mentality, or the crab bucket effect, is a way of thinking best described with the phrase, if I can't have it, neither can you. The metaphor is described from anecdotal claims that the behavior of crabs when they are trapped in a bucket, when any one crab tries to any one crab can easily start to climb out, it it will nonetheless be pulled back in by others, ensuring the group's collective demise. So when one crab tries to get out of the bucket, then the others pull that crab back in. And so if I'm going to die in this bucket, you're going to die in this bucket, or whatever's going to happen to one of us is going to happen to all of us. So you will not escape this bucket. And that's that crab mentality. So the analogous theory in human behavior is that members of a group will attempt to reduce the self confidence of any member who achieves success beyond the others out of envy, out of jealousy, out of resentment, out of spite, conspiracy, or competitive feelings to halt the progress. So the same claims about the behavior are embodied in the phrase tall poppy syndrome. Tall poppy syndrome. And let's go to tall poppy syndrome. And I am in Wikipedia, en.wikipedia.org. The tall poppy syndrome. The tall poppy syndrome. And in Australia and New Zealand, tall poppy syndrome is a term that refers to successful people being criticized. This occurs when their peers believe they are too successful or are bragging about their success. Intense scrutiny and criticism of such a person is termed as cutting down the tall poppy. Wow, cutting down the tall poppy. Well, Fresh is making himself known. He's over there exploring. All right, now we'll go back to the syndrome. Uh, he's been feeling bad, so I'm glad to hear him perking up and everything. So you might have seen the other day where I posted it. We had gone to the doctor, so he is feeling much better now. Thank you for that. Okay, crab mentality. Crowd mentality. This is Wikipedia. I'm going to go there, but I have also another site that has this crab mentality too. But I'm going to go to Wikipedia. Crab mentality. Yeah. So we have some references here, and I just finished that, so I'm going back to. I have to go down through here. I have so many of these sites here. Looking at. Okay. Signs that a person has a crab mentality, and this is in fact FAQ.ph. FAQ.ph. 10 signs that a person has a crab mentality. So I'm going to do a crab mentality, then I'm going to talk about soaring like an eagle, then I'm talking about the turkey, okay? All right, so 10 signs. This is July 5th, 2014 by Victorino Q. Abrigar. Victorino Q. Abrigar. Crab mentality is a widely used term in the Philippines given to Filipinos who always try to pull down other Filipinos. Now, this I'm reading from a site, okay? Pulling down Filipinos who are succeeding in life and getting ahead of them. This trait is not unusual to us, as it's actually one of the common bad habits of many Filipinos. So this person might be a Filipino writing this, but this is this person's point of view, and I will put my point of view in that later, okay? People with crab mentality are everywhere. Now, there you go. Everywhere. Right? You can encounter them on social media where they are always busy criticizing instead of appreciating the news and stories about their achievements of Filipinos. So evidently this is a Filipino. The attribute is also one of the major causes why our country, this is a fellow Filipino writing this, is not progressing. It doesn't promote unity, okay, humility and responsibility. And this person said, I believe we can get rid of it for personal and national development. And the first step to eradicate this negative trait from us is to be aware of it. And now that's anywhere, okay, anywhere in the whole wide world, not just the Philippines, not just the Filipino, that's everywhere. Because I live in the United States. And many of you who are watching me live in the United States too. Some live in Puerto Rico, some live all over the world, and Mexico, all over the place, okay? So, this attribute is also one of the major causes of problems of not progressing in many countries, in all of the countries, okay? So, the first step to eradicate the negative trait is for us to be aware of it. We can all be guilty of crab mentality, and yes, we can. And here are 10 signs that someone is having this unfavorable quality. Talking about crab mentality. All right. Now we're getting somewhere on this. Now this could be all over the world. I'm just reading a piece from a Filipino. But this is true all over the world, okay? Number one, traits 10, where you can recognize whether you are or not, or are or not, okay? Or do not have the crab mentality. Whether you do or don't have the crab mentality, okay? Because the OR and the ARE, sometimes they sound alike when we pronounce them. Certain people pronounce them, so they might sound alike when I should say or, are, okay. Now, number one, they are too proud of themselves and treat others as inferior beings. Have we known people like this? Do we know people like this? Do we know people like this? You can sense a breeze of arrogance from people with crab mentality. They feel like they have royal blood flowing in their veins, and they treat other people as peasants. When they earn some achievements of their own, whether big or small, they brag it to everyone to position themselves higher from the rest of the Filipinos, and I'm going to say the world, okay? And that is why they will always look down on you, especially if you're one of them who came from where they are. Now, people like in little towns, in any town, if people know you, some people have this crab mentality, and they feel like just because you are where they are from, you have no right to climb higher and be more successful than them. They can be racist in their own race. People can be racist in their own race for real. So, and then the person said, "Oh, I mean, they can be racist to other regional races also." And we've seen people in our own race be racist toward their own race. Number two, talking about people, the traits of crab mentality. They panic when their comrades are happy and improving. Aside from arrogance, you can also smell envy, you can smell jealousy and bitterness from this kind of person, talking about the person with the crab mentality. They freak out when the people they look down on are rising or progressing beyond them. It gives them a terrible feeling of insecurity. That's why they will try to pull them down, either by harsh words or by unkind actions. And there are some people who are so envious and jealous that they would rather see you dead, like no longer walking and breathing on this earth. It's happened so many times because of this. And so that's why they would try to pull you down, talking about people with crab mentality. These are some of the traits. So you'll know if you are one, or you'll know people who have this mentality. So either by harsh words, they try to push you down or pull you down, or by unkind actions. So you will see them giving bitter comments on Facebook, Twitter, and other social media channels. They can be irritating as they may spoil your own little achievement or happiness. So watch out. Watch out. Watch out. And there's one article that I have I'm going to present to you that is always so much of what I talk about so often. Okay? Number three, their motto in life is, if I can't have it, neither can you. So they rather wish everyone will fail than let themselves fail while others are succeeding. They represent the crabs in the bucket metaphor, where the crabs can easily escape from the bucket, but instead they grab and pull down each other in a selfish, competitive manner, which prevents any of them to escape, resulting in their collective demise. And then also by these being, what is a crab? I don't know what is an animal. I don't know what you call a crab. I'll have to look that up sometime. I probably went over it in school. I'm pretty sure, but I don't remember everything that we went over in school or that I learned in school unless I do a refresher. And so this will help me to do. But a crab, you catch it from the water, you get it, you can catch it, and it tastes good. Okay? So what it's saying that if one crab is trying to get out of the bucket, the other crab will grab a hold of that crab and pull it back down. But these, I don't, well, I'm going to go into this, but these being whatever species they are, they, we don't know, of course, they'd all like to escape. So we just don't know what the mental thing is, but this is a good example of how people treat each other. A good example. Because I don't believe that the crabs want to die in the bucket, but the only thing to know they know is to grab a hold of the other, and they might be trying to get the other one to pull them up, but because of the weight of all the others pulling on that one crab trying to get out, they pull that crab back, and it's over and over and over again. And then in one of my pieces I read in this research, it said that those crabs, the fisherman never would not doesn't have to put a top on the bucket because none of the crabs will escape because when one tries to get out, the other ones pull it back. My goodness. So, where the crabs can easily escape from the bucket, they grab and pull down each other in a selfish, competitive manner, which prevents any of them from escaping, resulting in their collective demise. So, in other words, people who have a crab mentality are selfish and they don't have any sense of sacrifice. They are actually the opposite of Filipinos who are known to love bayanihan or communal work. So I don't know if I pronounced that right. But number four, Number 4, let me see. Thank you so much for being with me today. I appreciate you so much for being right here with me. So I'm going to try to monitor here on Facebook. I can get that to come up because I want to see who's with me today. Thank you so much for being with me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Oh, did I not put inspiration? Hi, Deborah and Sandra. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for being with me today. I didn't change my heading, did I? On my thing. This is point of view where you see it in the window. So number 4, they are full of positivity for themselves, but full of negativity for others. Talking about the trace of crab mentality. Okay, signs that a person has crab mentality. They are full of positivity for themselves, but full of negativity for others. They only see the good things in themselves, but they are blind when it comes to their negative characteristics. When it comes to how they view other people, it becomes the opposite. They only see the bad things of other people while they're blind to their positive deeds, to the other people's positive deeds. And some people only desire to see ugliness and even if they have to make it up in other people in order to make themselves superior to another person. That jealousy and envy, that stuff is something else. You hear me? They only see the bad things in other people while they're blinded to their positive deeds. That is why instead of appreciation, what you will get from them are nothing but negative criticisms. Some of these criticisms are valid, while others are just invented to mess up your achievements. Number 5, they blame their comrades for their failures rather than help them. They blame their comrades for their failures rather than help them. What is more disgusting is that those who have a crab mentality is that they will pull you down further when you're already down. They'll pull you down further when you're already down. When Super Typhoon Yolanda, and it's in Haiyan, turned the lives of many people in the eastern Visayas into the darkest part. The crabs were nothing but blamers instead of becoming the helpers. Rather than giving us a hand, those crabs broke our already broken souls and hearts. And the saddest part of this is these crabs include some public officials who are supposed to give us first hand public service. So this you can already be down, they're going to bring you down. Number 6, they treat their comrades as competitors. It seems like the words unity and cooperation are not in their vocabulary. They always treat other people as competitors instead of teammates. You can find this kind of people everywhere in a basketball team, in your office, or even in your corporate organization. They could be there. Again, envy, jealousy, and selfishness cause them to refrain from cooperating. Instead of giving victory to the whole company or team, they just want to grab all the success for themselves. And just like what we discussed in number 3, they rather let the team lose than let it win without making themselves as the star player. My goodness. Number 7, they don't know a thing about compassion, talking about how you can tell if a person has a crab mentality. These are 10 signs that a person has a crab mentality. Number 7, they don't know a thing about compassion. Compassion is a great virtue that enables us to understand the feelings of other people. It lets us walk in other people's shoes and appreciate the lives they are living. But people with the crab mentality lack compassion. They are inconsiderate and ignorant of the many people they are offending. They don't care about the many hearts they are breaking. Well, what can we expect? They only care for themselves. My goodness. Number 8, yet they act like they know everything. They act like they know everything. You can't argue with them because they act like they are the most knowledgeable people in the world. They are active critics, but they don't accept criticisms thrown to them by other people. They don't need your advice. They don't want to hear your opinions. Just try to correct them if you dare. Number 9, they spend most of their time talking about people rather than discussing ideas and solutions. So again, it's because they treat people as their competitors. Instead of thinking about the brilliant ideas and solutions that make and this writer is from the Philippines, so he said, make the Philippines a better country. They spend most of their time ensuring that no other Filipinos can become better than them. When our nation faces a crisis, they will be more active in talking about how people become worthy of suffering rather than discussing the solutions that will help people end their sufferings. My goodness. Number 10, and hey, that's no surprise to us in the United States, is it? Or anywhere else in the world. The same thing is going on all over the world. Number 10, they will never admit that they have a crab mentality. And that's the mystery of it. They will never admit that they have that kind of mentality. So, and he goes on to say that this article is only supposed to be informational rather than judgmental. He said, even when I was still childish, I admit I had some of the signs of having crab mentality. He says, I was jealous, envious, bitter, and a bit selfish. But if we stay in this mentality, we will not grow as a person. And definitely we will not grow as a nation. Therefore, while it's still early, we have to be aware of this negative attitude or habit. So then we should get rid of it, not only for ourselves, but also for the whole nation and the next generation. Now, see, he summed it up really well, didn't he? So, Victorino Q. Abrigar, he promotes tourism related businesses, brands, and places. He's the marketing strategist of FAQ.ph. He believes the key to success is to always do what to do next. I think there might be know what to do next, okay, but it might be a typo. So he wrote, he believes that the key to success is to always do what to do next. So if you want to promote your business, you can contact me and mail at optixor.com, optixor.com. Now, I'm reminding you that this article was written in, posted in 2014. So you can check him out and see if it's still there. Okay, so that's how you know that you have that crab mentality, my goodness, gosh. So let me go back. Crabs in a bucket mentality. Now we'll go and talk about, we talked about the crabs in the bucket, so we want to be able to rise above that crab mentality and know how, if we're victims of crab mentality, or if people are trying to keep us in the bucket with them, then we have to know how to get out of that bucket, and we need to take on the traits of the eagle. And then also my aunt, we call her Annie Mae Butler Moore, she sent a postcard to me once. And the postcard was, how can you soar like an eagle when you're working with turkeys? And so the eagle was trying to take off, and there was a turkey that was holding on to one of his legs to keep it from taking off. So she wrote, how can you soar like an eagle when you're working with turkeys? So, oh my goodness, this is really, really good. And they say, if I can't have it, you can't eat it. If you can't eat it. So when you put a single crab in a bucket, that crab can easily crawl up and escape. However, when you put a lot of crabs in the same bucket, the crabs cannot escape anymore. Whenever one of them tries to escape, the others catch him and pull him down. If I can't have it, neither can you. So you don't even have to lid a bucket full of crabs, because even though each one possesses the ability to escape, the other crabs never let anyone escape. They all just immobilize each other. So the entire group stays in the bucket and meets their demise, even though each individual crab could have escaped their fate had they been alone in that very bucket. Now, here's something. Humans in a bucket. I'm going to get to the turkeys, okay? And the eagle. This site is lifemathmoney.com. It's remarkable how similar humans in their social groups are to crabs in the buckets. Humans will use social and peer pressure to hold each other down, to prevent others from rising above them. If I can't have it, neither can you. That's the same, okay, in the frame of mind thinking. The crabs in a bucket mentality is a part of human nature, and it's especially visible among the masses and the regular average people of the world. When people talk about haters, this mentality is what they're talking about. Sabotagers who try to prevent you from getting ahead out of jealousy, envy, resentment, spite, and even competitiveness. Of course, is not as brazen as someone physically preventing you from accomplishing things, but they use social pressure to try and accomplish the same goals, to prevent anyone from making too much progress. For example, when someone's trying to get rid of a bad habit, say they're trying to quit drinking, many of their friends will try to get them to drink. That's for real. At least taste it. That's what someone will say. Or just one drink, bro. Or I thought you were cool, man. Don't be like this. Have a sip. They know you're trying to quit. They know why you're trying to quit. They have a vested interest in getting you to stay where you are, because no one likes to see someone below them rise from above. Did you hear me say R, R, R? The same thing happens when you try to do anything that raises your value significantly as a person. Oh, I'm so glad I came into this. So, when you try to start a business, you'll have all sorts of people tell you that business is risky and jobs are safe and that you should stick to working a well paying job. Crabs in a bucket will try to keep you in the bucket with them. Thank you for being with me today. Hello, everybody. Don't get me wrong. You should be open to criticism and new ideas, especially from people who have experience in the field you're venturing into. However, anyone who says never start a business because all business is risky is either an idiot or an imbecile trying to slow you down. Lord, this person is really direct. Let me see if I can see who the author is. I gave you the site. Crabs in the Bucket Mentality. Let me see if I can find the name. Hirsch Strong Man. And this is September 12th, 2018. Get rid of the crabs in a bucket mentality. And here's a crab up here said, oh, no, you don't, Missy. You get back down here with the rest of us where you belong. Oh, my goodness. Humans in a bucket were being compared. They have a vested interest in getting you to stay where you are because no one likes to see someone below them rise above them. And that's what I see this, and we see this. And when I see people progressing and doing it, and where it's good. It's good for all of us to see people progressing and improving their status, in life, improving their living, whatever they're doing. I am so happy for people as long as they're, doing it for the good. I'm very happy about that. I'm supportive of people who do that. And and I think sometimes I say I've been doing this, and I thank you for sharing. Thank you for those who thank you to everyone who's sharing, who watches and listens to Point of View, to Greater Gospel Temple, to Spoke Light On, and Spoke Light On, to every show that I produce and everything. I appreciate you. And then, but I have over 1,000 Facebook friends, and I just say sometimes, and you've heard me say, if each one would share with the people that they are Facebook friends with, even on Twitter, even on what is it, Instagram, on LinkedIn, on let me see, other sites that I'm on, if they would just share one time, it would reach thousands of people, thousands of people. And there are some ones in those thousands of people that are friends on Facebook with those people that do the sharing who will be interested in watching. And the same is when you do something and you share it on Facebook, if the other people will share it, there will be thousands and thousands and thousands of people who will see the good that you are doing. But then very few people, I mean, very few people will share. But that's okay. Those who are with us, those who are with you, we appreciate them for watching and supporting us. But if all the people will just share, then many other people will have the opportunity to be able to watch and listen and get this good information that we share. So the same thing happens when you try to do anything that raises your value significantly as a person. No one likes to see someone below them rise above them. And some people think that everybody is below them when everybody is not below them. Some people just don't want anybody to go anywhere, get any recognition or anything. So when you try to start a business, you'll have all sorts of people tell you that it's risky and jobs are safe. And I read that. Don't get me wrong. He said you should be open to criticism. Of course, we should, and take that constructive criticism. And Elder Davis would say, "What is it? Blow back the trash and take a drink of water." And so all that you can use, you store that up so you can use it, and all of that you can't use, you just discard it. So, however, anyone who says never start a business because all businesses are risky, I know I did this, is either an idiot or an imbecile trying to slow you down. Any activity or venture you do that will improve your long term trajectory will attract all sorts of crabs telling you why what you're doing will not work and why you shouldn't do it. And I remember, I think Vernon Jordan, I think that's his last name, told this on himself when President Barack Obama asked him for advice on running for president. He told him no, and he felt that he wouldn't succeed. But Barack Obama went ahead and ran for president and was successful at 2 terms of presidency. Now, I'm not saying that Vernon Jordan was jealous or envious, but he could only see as far as he could see. But what we have to do is we have to see farther or further than someone else. If we feel that we can do it, and like Elder David said, nothing beats a failure but a try. And when I was talking to my daughter the other day, she was saying something else. She had another analogy on that too. But sometimes people can give us their honest opinion, and that opinion is not good for us. Okay? So, any activity or venture you do that will improve your long term trajectory will attract all sorts of crabs telling you why you're doing what you're doing will not work and why you should not do it. And the way you know these people are not well meaning people who care about you, but just crabs, is that they will not give you legitimate, rational reasoning for why you should or shouldn't do something. They will try to use social pressure to get you to conform with what they want. Don't drink. And there's a word here I won't say. We don't hang out with uncool people. Oh, the question is, don't drink? Hey, forget you. We don't hang out with uncool people like you. And here, reading books. Forget you. We don't hang out with boring nerds like you. These are some things of social pressure. And then don't eat processed food. Forget you. We don't hang out with lame health freaks like you. And they will never give you rational reasons why you should continue drinking, stop reading books, or eat more processed foods. They will call you uncool, they will call you boring, they will call you lame and nerdy, or what have you to socially pressure you into doing what they want you to do. Whatever they can think of to say, whatever they can call you, they want to pressure you into doing what they want you to do. How many of you out there know people like this? How many of you out there know people like this? Thank you so much for being with me. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm trying to get here and see, uh, get to my page here and see who's with me today. Let me see. I guess I'm going to come up on the live. I am trying to come up with the live here. Let's see if I can come up with it. Okay. Well, is this it? No, I don't see the line. And I come on. Okay. Let me see. I know I pressed my own button. Bear with me here, please. I know. Yeah, I'm live. So this thing is trying to fool me. Maybe it has that crab mentality. Okay, let me go back to my page that I was on. That crab mentality. Person has crab mentality. Get back to that. I did all those signs that a person has crab mentality. Okay, now I need to get on. Oh, it's 1:46. I need to get on and talk about the eagle. Eagle, but there are people out here in this world that don't want you to succeed. But don't you ever stop because people have those cruel, jealous, mean, hateful, envious spirits in them toward you. Don't want you to succeed. Some people think you should be beneath whatever they think they are. You know, they think you should not be more than them, not be more recognized than them. They don't want to hear your name called by anybody else. So that's that crab mentality. So let me go here. I have something here in my on my phone that I want to read about this that I pulled up here, and I will be looking down. So soaring like an eagle, and I had the characteristics of an eagle, the traits of an eagle. Let me see if I can find them on here. Of an eagle, the traits of an eagle. Soar like an eagle. And I talked about the eagle on Sunday uh, webcast. Sunday webcast. And there are some scriptures about an eagle. And this is not the Sunday webcast, but this all works together. So I'm going to tell you what they have in the Bible, and I go and give you the traits of an eagle. One scripture is Ezekiel 17:7, and the Bible refers to the eagle, so you know that eagle has got to be very, very, very special. But there was another great eagle with powerful wings and full plumage. Ezekiel 17:7. You yourself have seen what I did in Egypt and how I carried you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself. That's Exodus 19:14. Deuteronomy 32:11. Like an eagle that stirs up its nest and hovers over its young ones, that spreads its wings to catch them and carries them on its pinions. Then here's another uh, thing. For centuries, eagles have been used as reference birds in various contexts of life. And the Bible scriptures that were quoted above, those verses, are just some of the proofs of this proposition. These larger than life birds have fascinated and inspired generations with exemplary leadership qualities. Eagles are generally seen as symbols of power, ego, freedom, prowess, independence, self reliance, and transcendence. They represent beauty, honor, courage, determination, fervor, bravery, and elegance. Talking about the eagle. Oh my goodness. Now, here's a story in here, and I'm going to read it, cold reading. A story is told of a farmer who took an eagle's egg and hatched it together with the chicken's eggs. The eaglet hatched and grew with chicks but could not fly simply because it was living amongst chickens which do not fly. However, as it advanced in age, It could no longer feed on grains and other chicken feeds because of the characteristics of its beak. With time, its conscience started developing, the inner locus gained control, and it started feeding on chicks. The farmer realized this and resolved to eliminate it. As he was chasing the eaglet around the homestead, it jumped onto the fence, onto a nearby coffee tree, onto an avocado tree, and finally it flew away. So this story informs us that every one of us was born with great potential, particularly leadership potential, but environment and wrong associations spelt doom on us. Let us now take a glance at the lessons that we can integrate from this great and exceptional bird of prey. My goodness, man, oh man, psalmsconsultants.wordpress.com. This is where this is from. Psalm, Psalms, consultant with the S, .wordpress.com. Number one, eagles have vision, and I read this in the other piece that I have. The eyesight of an eagle thought is what thought is to a man. Dejan Stojanovic. Eagles have a strong and sharp vision. They can identify their prey, prey, and focus on it until they get it. Likewise, an eagle, by the power of its spectacular vision, can spot an enemy from afar and deter him from approaching and encroaching to its nest to harm its young ones. Just take your time and observe an eagle seated somewhere or just flying over and above you. You will notice that it keeps its body still but keeps its head tilting sideways to spot either a prey or a predator. Eagles fly at high altitudes but are able to spot their prey from as far as 10,000 feet. Fishing eagles are able to focus through the silent waters and the wavy waters alike and get to the prey. My goodness, that eyesight. So having said this, it is important to note that great leaders were, are, and will come. However, all of them have had this great quality of being visionary. Vision, as discussed earlier, is an essential leadership quality. Take Martin Luther, for instance. He had a vision of a united America without racial discrimination, even at a time when everything was done based on skin color and pigmentation. It is this vision that gave him the psyche to carry on his anti-racial crusades even when he had every reason to give up. Nelson Mandela is another icon who has clearly demonstrated this. At a time when apartheid was the rule of the game, he arose, led by a vision to oppose it sternly, even when put behind bars. His vision of a free and fair South Africa never dwindled. This is why, when he was finally set free from Robben Islands, he still had the heart to forgive his captors and move on to keep his anti apartheid campaign real. You must have a vision that leads your organization towards the organizational or societal goals. The vision must be big but focused, not blurred. Big but blurred vision is confusing and may lead to wrong directions and achievement of non targeted goals. However, a big and focused vision will produce big results. Dream big and see further. Sharpen your eyes. You have the eagle's sight. Quicken your step. You have the horse's limbs. You would be all that is a burden for others several times. And this is from Israel Moore Agavar. Then the second one is eagles are fearless. Eagles are fearless. They have sight, then they are fearless. The eagle has no fear of adversity. We need to be like the eagle and have a fearless spirit of a conqueror. Oh my goodness, this is so good, isn't it? I am going to have to go into a third part of this because I want to finish this with how this is the eagle, trace of an eagle, and I have another article on this. And then I'm going to talk about the trace of a turkey, and then that quote and that card that Mom just sent me. How can you soar like an eagle when you're working with turkeys? So we're going to talk about that too on Thursday, God willing. The eagle has no fear of adversity. We need to be like the eagle and have a fearless spirit of a conqueror. And then this is one thing that Joyce Meyer said: an eagle will never surrender to the size or strength of its prey. That's Prey. Okay, it will never surrender or relent fighting its predator. Some eagles prey on wild goats and rabbits, which are much bigger than they are. They, however, put a spirited fight and ends up winning over their prey. Eagles also fight their predators and enemies fearlessly. At times, snakes find their way into eagles' nests with intentions of snatching their eggs or eaglets. However venomous or strong the snake or predator may be, the eagle will always fight them and reclaim its territory. It lifts the snake off the ground into the atmosphere and releases it to fall under force of gravity while tearing it apart. This is meant to destabilize the snake. And I heard that before, so that takes the way up into the atmosphere, way, way, way up. Now, great leaders will always face challenges and problems head on. Any leader who tries to circumvent and evade problems will never make it to the limelight of greatness. The limelight. Oh, Davis used to say that so often. Limelight. Let me go to limelight. 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 A renowned, let me see. Line. Instrument producing illumination by means of, and how do I get further into that? Limelight. It presents illumination. Okay. It being the focus of public attention is linked to a type of stage lighting. All right, so I won't dwell on that. Soaring like an eagle. Okay. Now, you become a leader when you believe in what you can do. The eagle believes it can soar. It does not believe it can swim. The day the eagle will attempt to swim will be the day it will fail. Number five, eagles possess vitality. And Maya Angelou has an article here about that. Most people don't grow up. Most people age. They find parking spaces, honor their credit cards, get married, have children, and call that maturity. What that is aging. It's 2 o'clock. I thank you so much for being with me, and God willing, we'll take off on number five about the traits of an eagle here in this psalm. Yeah, because there's more to it. There's more to it. Okay, thank you so much for being with me. I appreciate your being with me, and God willing, Clee and Eula will be with me and And as soon as Merethah can get a break, she will too. Thank you so much, so much for being here with me today.